service.
Destination is on your right.
Sign and drive.
Sign and drive.
Right here.
It's 938.
Yep.
Okay, is it gonna get me?
Yes, it will.
Okay, look. I don't know anything about YouTube channels, but I'm gonna go fill out this paperwork and make their marriage legal. Let's do the legal stuff. All right, now, your marriage license, the one with the gold seal, this is signed by me. This is yours to keep, okay? So you can frame it or scrapbook it or do something pretty with it, you know. But that's yours to keep. Attached to that was your marriage license, your marriage certificate, in 2 portions. The top portion is for me to keep for my records. The bottom portion is for me to return to Marriage License Bureau. And I will do that immediately.
Okay.
And they always provide me with an envelope to do that, and it is stamped. So it goes out in the mail today. Everything that you had to sign, you did when you were at Marriage License Bureau. Cool. So we don't need witnesses in Ohio. You know, just the minister signs, and you are legally married.
Great.
Okay.
Awesome.
So now, when that document that I'm going to send in reaches them, that becomes part of their permanent record at Marriage License Bureau. And that document is their proof from me to them that you really did get legally married.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Melting. Pretty cool lady.
What have you been up to?
I've been riding on a daydream. So that just happened. Can you believe it? We're on location here in our RV, and we wanted to talk to you about something that was kind of out of the ordinary for us, and it's a big secret. Like, it's not like anybody really cares, but we thought that we would share with you guys something that we've, I don't know, had going on for quite a few years. And it's not like it was anything sneaky or deviant or anything like that. It was probably, if anything, if I had to put a word on it, it was lazy. It was just because we were lazy. So what happened there? Well, Heidi and I got married. So let's tell the story. So we got to go back and we'll kind of fill in everyone who's not a regular viewer of our channel. And Heidi and I have been together for quite a few years, a long time. So we started dating in 1990. We dated for about a year, separate residences. Then we kind of lived together for a year. And then we got married in 1992. Yep, in 1992. And at the time, we wanted a small ceremony, which we did. We went to the mayor of Alliance because we had met cruising in Alliance. That's how her and I met. Basically, that was a thing back in the day. You just cruise up and down the strip. And in my case, I used to drag race all the time. And she was just up there cruising, meeting friends, that kind of thing. And after I lost my license drag racing, she caught my eye. Because I noticed all of a sudden there was girls up on the drag strip, or up on the street. And they're like, holy cow, look at all these girls that are up here. Because I was no longer in my car racing because I had lost my license. So I was just a passenger, just a spectator. So we got married by the mayor of Alliance. Small ceremony. My grandmother had flown up from Florida, and Heidi's grandparents were there, and then our parents were there, obviously, and that was it. That's all the people that showed up for the ceremony. And then we had a big reception, because everybody likes a reception. Waited 3 years. We had a girl, and then 13 months later, to the day, we had a boy. And then just moving forward into the 2000s, I had started my own business here at the house, which you guys, again, that watch us a lot know about. I had a small engine shop. Before that, I sat at a desk every day. I had basically a 9-to-5 job. And Heidi had worked a bunch of different jobs. After the kids were a couple years old, Heidi had signed up with Advance Auto Parts, and she was moving up the corporate ladder.
I was a full-time inventory specialist, and just kept moving up.
Right.
As people left and
got fired.
Yeah,
for
got
stealing.
Fired. And
seems like there's a lot of stealing in that business. I'm not sure why.
Can kind of fast forward even to today that I've been a manager for 15 years.
So as she was moving up the corporate ladder, as her income became more stable, I was the one that kind of always had the stable income. We always went through my insurance. I was with a really good company, and I just was sick of it. So her and I had basically a little talk, and I said, hey, I'm going to start a business here at the house. I'm already working on these mowers off on the side, so I want to do it full time. And she half-heartedly, oh yeah, okay, and I said, well, it's going to be pretty stressful, and it's going to put a lot of strain, on our normal house life as far as people's going to be coming to the house every day. There's who knows what's going to happen, but this is going to be a business. It's no longer going to be our home. It's going to be a business. And she's like, okay, oh yeah, I understand, because she seen that I was selling stuff out of the yard as it was and didn't think that it was going to change much after that. Well, also, the kids were getting a little bit older. They were about 9 and 10 years old, maybe 8 and 9, somewhere in that neighborhood. And we were having problems, and it wasn't anything that had to do with necessarily our relationship with each other. It was our relationship with our lives at that point and what was going on. And the fact that I had a business here at the house, Heidi would come home from work and she would see me here. Basically, the kids would be playing in the yard. I would be in the garage working, or maybe when she came home, I don't know how many times she came home, she couldn't even pull in the driveway because people were blocking the driveway because I was either working on a mower, or they were picking up a mower, or they were looking at a mower that was for sale. And it was just a busy time for me. And I was working my butt off, and I was making huge bank. I had tons of money. And for the first time in our relationship, Heidi wasn't being given that money. Normally what I did was I just had my paycheck, when I sat at a desk all day, just go into our bank account and take care of bills, and I would occasionally ask for some money for something, and I would spend a lot of money bowling. That was the other thing I was doing at the time. Anyways, it consumed my life. My nightlife was bowling, and I was dragging her into a couple leagues, but mainly it was for me. And I wasn't extremely happy because it seemed like I was working my butt off, and she was always upset. She just was upset, and I talked to her about it, and she kind of was feeling maybe a little midlife crisis. She went out and bought a new car, a little sporty car, I guess as sporty as you can get. It was a little turbo car, and she at some point come home and she wanted us to talk about getting a divorce. And we had quite a few arguments over the course of about a year. And instead of us really going to any kind of counseling or identifying why we were arguing, we just kind of thought maybe we should separate. I mean, I had a successful business here at the house, which I was going to have to move or do something else. But I learned that I was really happy working with my hands instead of sitting at a desk all day. So that was kind of nice. That I learned something about myself, and I thought, you know what, I'll just go work for a mower shop here locally somewhere and continue to do what I'm doing, but get paid on a regular basis. And in the meantime, Heidi, she was to the point where she was financially self-sufficient. I mean, she could do her own thing. So when we talked to the kids, told them, hey, we're arguing a lot, and our daughter says, well, if you're arguing a lot, don't you get divorced at that point? And we're like, well, yeah, that's actually what we're talking to you kids about. And we started the procedure for getting divorced. Now, that's where things get a little interesting because it did not go the way that anybody expected, and we should have seen the signs. Even when we chose an attorney to do the divorce, we probably should have just got a dissolution. He never said that maybe we should think about not getting divorced, but
Right.
I think it's because he just wanted his money for the proceeding. And we had gone to marriage counseling one time or two times after we had already started the divorce procedures. And marriage counselor, she didn't really say anything. I mean, there was really no input from her. It sounded like she was just being there as a sounding board. So, anyways, we went ahead and went to the courthouse for the divorce, for our court date. The sheriff that's at the door of the courthouse that has the metal detector and the scanner and everything like that, he had asked what she was there for, because she had went through first, and she says, "I'm here for divorce." And he goes, "Oh, it's so far down, elevator upstairs," and told her the directions, and then turned to me as I was putting my stuff in the little tray that goes through the scanner, and he says, "What are you here for today?" And I said the same thing as her. And he says, "Divorce?" I said, "Yeah." And he says, "Are you two together?" And yeah. And "You're getting divorced today? Both of you are getting divorced?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Holy cow, normally we have to separate the people that are getting divorced. And here you guys come through together." And I said, "Well, I rode down with her." And I said, "It's not like that." Well, then, that was kind of funny. So we went through the divorce proceedings. And then, because we have kids in this county, they require parenting after divorce classes. And again, the same situation. We both rode down together. We both went into the classroom together. We sat down at the desk. Yeah, same thing. I think I should have realized even more by then that there was another person that was in there. He was sitting at the table and he had his booklet out and he's going through the paper and he's waiting for the class to start. And this woman come through the door and you could just see her face. She goes, "Oh, hell no," because she's seen her ex-husband in there. And I'm like, "Oh, wow, I'm glad that's not us." And again, we should have probably been asking ourselves, why are we not like those people? And we were separated for about, a total of 7 months. We were told that was it. And even during that time, we spent Christmas together. We went out to eat a couple times together. We actually interacted with each other just like we would normally do, except I was living at the time with my parents before I got my own place. And then I started working at a shop that serviced all of Home Depot's power equipment. And there was quite a few of the shops throughout the country. And that's whenever I was transferring to the Tampa shop. I was going to move to Tampa, which I did. So I had loaded up a trailer and I had a little Isuzu Amigo, and I went ahead and I took off. And again, we're still conversing with each other pretty much every day. And at that point, she started saying, "Well, maybe we shouldn't have gotten divorced." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I like it down here in Tampa." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but maybe you're right. Maybe we should have gotten divorced." So after working there for I don't know how many months, I actually came back and then went back down again. I came back up. I was going to work at the shop up here. Instead, I did some work in the house. We built another room in the house and did something else it all happened in just like 2 weeks' time. And then I went back down to Tampa and worked there for another couple months. And then that's whenever we decided, well, maybe I should come back home. So I came back home, moved back in, and that was back, we got divorced in 2005, and it was like maybe January of 2006?
January, February.
Yeah, that was it. I moved back in the house, and we've been together, again, we were hardly apart in the first place, but we were together ever since. And at the time, we were full intent on getting remarried right then. And it just kept on getting put on the back burner. It didn't make a difference, you know, as far as the kids were concerned. They knew that, you know, we loved each other and we lived in the house and everything was normal. It was totally normal. So we just never got remarried. It was, like I said, it was just a kind of a laziness thing. So what happened was, knowing that we're going to, you know, start traveling even more here, hopefully more next year than this year, but we went down to the municipal building for our county to get our passports. Of course, they're going to read through your paperwork down there to make sure it's filled out perfect. And as they're reading through each page, they got to that one and she said, "Oh, it says here that you're divorced." I said, "Yeah." And she says, "But you put down her name." I said, "Yeah." And then she went over to Heidi's paperwork, flipped through, and said, "And you say you're divorced, and you put down his name. Are you guys divorced?" We said, "Yeah." And she said, "Did you remarry?" And we're like, "No." And she says, "Oh, okay, well, you filled out the paperwork correctly then." She goes, "I just thought maybe you accidentally misread and put it down wrong." And I looked at Heidi, and I then looked back at the lady, and I said, "Do you guys have marriage license here? Maybe we should be getting married so this doesn't happen anymore." So that's what you saw there. That was Reverend Lynn Bressy. She's over in Canton, and we'll put the contact information down below in our link. That was so awesome. They have a sign and drive. I mean, we didn't need any big ceremony. We want to make it real nice and easy. Just get it over with. And we drove our son's van. And the reason we did that was we figured that when we first got married, we drove to the ceremony in an 80s Ford. Of course, that was in the 90s. So why not get married again driving to the ceremony in an 80s Ford? So now her and I are legally wed. And you'll start seeing me with the ring on now, because we weren't married, and I thought it was kind of dumb if I wore a ring. And I always wore a ring whenever we were married. I even working on machines and stuff like that. I know you crush your fingers, but I always wore a ring. I'm pretty careful. But that was that's the whole story. So yeah, we are now married. Can you believe it? After all these years. So how do you feel about it now?
Don't feel any different.
Yeah, don't. It feels exactly the same,
yeah.
Except she's wearing a ring now. If you just joined us on this channel, go ahead and sign up, click the bell, subscribe, and follow us along as we're trying to move forward into becoming full-time RVers. But getting married was kind of important, I guess. The main thing was we were concerned if anything happened to either one of us, you know, the kind of power that we would have available to make decisions for the other person, whether it be a health issue or an estate issue or a bank accounts or anything like that, or property. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we had bought over the years that has my name on it only, or her name on it only, or both of our names on it, and neither one of us was married to the point where we could help each other out if there was a problem. So that's solved.
That's it.
Yep, that's it.
Plain and simple.
Yes. So, as always,
hope to see you out there.
bye.
Bye.